Hi, you're muted. Okay, I'm going to turn off what's this? Chat. Hello. Hello. So I am going to, if I can do it, I thought I did it. Where's my chat? Okay, everybody. Hi, and welcome to the Coach's Solution to Get Referrals and Money in the Bank. I'm Ragini Elizabeth Michaels, and I think you already know a little bit about me, so I'm going to bypass that, except to tell you that I've got over 4 decades of experience in private practice, as well as training others, using the things we're going to be talking about here today. So part of this effort in this little webinar is to help those of you that are coaches now, which is a very popular profession, to have new ways to deal with the ever-present stress of getting more clients and generating enough money to get that extra cushion in your bank account. So I wanted to share with you today some ways in which you could expand your realms of possibility for accomplishing those 2 goals, which are probably the most important goals for anybody who is a private practitioner or solo entrepreneur. Or solopreneur is the new, I think, cool way to talk about somebody who's a sole proprietor for themselves. So in order to do this properly, I'm going to take myself off the screen so you don't have to look at me the whole time. And we're going to focus on this little PowerPoint presentation for you. And I'll come back at the end. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat box and I'll answer them at the end of the presentation. Okay? All right. So let's see if I can get this thing working. Come on, babe. Let's get you to work. Let's see. Now we have to go back here, resume slideshow. Pardon me for my, here we go. All right, so now I'm also going to take this stuff off the screen so you don't have to be looking at it. All right, we'll put me down here in the corner. Okay, so whether you are just starting or are already a well-seasoned coach, the thing here is in getting more clients and money, one thing you really want to do is hang on to your creativity. It spices up the day and it allows you to be able to expand your view of yourself and your professional identity. Now that's what I'm going to be talking a lot about today in this little webinar, is how to create and expand your sense of your professional self. You are a coach, most of you who are listening, and hopefully you're a certified coach. If not, we'll talk about that at the end. When you allow yourself to expand your sense of personal identity, you expand your possibilities for success. And when you expand your personal identity and your professional identity together, then you invite this hidden kernel of creative genius that is unique to you to emerge and take the lead in the way that you work with clients. So this is what we're going to be talking about today, is really expanding your professional identity. So you're going to start by embracing undiscovered possibilities. So what I did, because I was an NLP person long before coaching came onto the scene. When coaching came onto the scene as a profession, I got certified in 2000 as a certified coach by the Women's Leadership Institute for Conscious Coaching. One of the things that you want to start doing is growing your existing coaching skills, whether you're just beginning or you're already seasoned, with new perspectives that you've not actually gleaned before. You want to have a new set of tools that you can keep putting into your tool bag. You want to explore new models. I'm going to talk a little bit about models in this so that you have a better sense of that. And actually then new skills, because skill is the one thing above all other things that will allow you to get repeat clients, great referrals, and money in your bank account without having to stress terribly much with your advertising and marketing, which of course is a part of today's world because your competition is out there doing that, and you will have to do that too. So the first question I get from a lot of coaches is that, is this ethical to branch out and bring in other avenues of ways of working, new approaches? My answer to that is yes. You can stay true to your coaching code of ethics, which is highly valued in the coaching world, and embrace additional approaches. So all these little hands here represent different ways that you can have hands-on success with your clients, all of which allow you to stay within the realms of being ethical. And I'll talk about that and wrap it up more towards the end. So how you perceive the new approaches that you go to study is actually what makes the difference. It's how you approach the new body of information and how you use it. That is what will make the difference. So I'm saying it's okay to embrace new possibilities. You can remain within your code of ethics as a coach and still embrace new ways to allow your client to reach their goal. You really do not have to limit yourself to one skill or one role. You want to give your creativity some breathing room, and in that way you can tap into your individual brilliance, which oftentimes comes out more fully whenever you have a plethora of techniques and tools and perspectives to draw upon that will match the needs of your client. And what this does is it frees you to release your unique touch of genius. I've, over the time, started out with NLP, as I said, but I also learned hypnosis, energy psychology tools like FO holding, emotional freedom technique, Tapas acupressure technique, Callahan tools for phobia, healing from the body level up. I studied brain research. I have a degree in physiological psychology. I have a huge background in meditation, mindfulness, mindset. Explored Byron Katie's 4 questions. There's lots of things out there that you can go and find that will allow you to stay within your code of ethics and be more free to help more of your clients get to their outcomes more quickly, more efficiently, with really long-lasting results. So the key is to dive in and explore the unfamiliar. And this is a quote from this guy, Charlie Munger. I'm not going to go into who he is, but he was actually a finance genius. But one of the things he said is you've got to have multiple mental models. Now, coaching is a mental model, because if you just have one or two that you're using, the nature of human psychology, that means your psychology as a coach, is such that you'll torture reality so that it fits your models, or at least you'll think it does. This is one of the major mistakes that people make when they only have one avenue of approach to solve a problem or to create a way to get from A to B. So I'm highly stressing you need multiple mental models in order to do this well, okay? So you have to let go because there's always more to learn. So I like this little picture. It's like the old saying, to the man with only a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. You do not want to have that limitation in your perspective towards coaching, right? There are many, many ways to help a person get to their goal. And as long as you're clear what your ethical standards are, you are free to use them in the way that works for you first as a coach. All right? So the benefit of having multiple mental models is first that it heightens the creation of this interlacing neural network inside of your brain. Some people call it a neural lattice work. The different models kind of move in and weave together and live off of each other and draw on the wisdom of each one and the approach of each one, which allows you to be a better strategic decision maker, which is important when you're working with your clients, because you're trying to make decisions about what questions to ask or what to do next. And having all of that going on inside of your brain is extremely helpful. It also enhances easy movement between multiple points of view. Okay, you want to be able to easily move to follow your client between their points of view that are actually in conflict with one another and may not make any sense to you, but make perfect sense to the client. So you have to be able to move and navigate between them with great ease and flexibility, which is the last one. Multiple mental models allows you to expand your awareness, your mental flexibility, and your cognitive functioning. So there are lots of benefits to you at going out and gathering new models, new tools, new perspectives, new insights, and new techniques. Ooh, that's kind of fun, isn't it? Okay, so I'm going to talk here about expanding your professional reach to embrace 3 compatible skill sets. This is the coach, the educator, and the facilitator. Now, in my case, I started as a facilitator with neuro-linguistic programming and then added on hypnosis. But I also at that time was completing my education, formal education in physiological psychology, or stimulus response conditioning, and more of a Pavlovian approach, which, by the way, I wasn't all that fond of, but I'll tell you, it comes into play when you're working with human beings. And then coaches came for me. Now, most of you that I'm talking to are coaches now. And what I'm talking about is expanding your skill sets to include at least 2 more, that of the educator and the facilitator. Why these 3? Because they each have a specific role to play, and the way that they play together will allow you to keep your sense of ethics and move within that framework so that you feel satisfied and in integrity and moving with authenticity, which I know is important to you. So this is a trifecta that you can bet on and win. You know, a trifecta is whenever, I think it was from racing, when all 3 horses, or one horse won all 3 races. So here you're going to look at today being a coach and expanding your mental models to include that of the educator and the facilitator. And now we're going to look at what each one of these is and the role that it plays. These 3 skill sets harmonize together. They work with each other. And when skill sets harmonize, they produce wild songs of success. Now, I say that because I had 4 decades of success, basically based on client referrals. That's it, right? Return clients and client referrals. So that was it. In those days, I didn't have to market like you do now. So that's still a part of your path to success in today's marketplace. But when you have skill sets that harmonize, you will help your clients succeed more quickly. You will be able to accelerate the desired behavior change, so it doesn't take a long time to get the client from where they are to where they want to go. It helps you generate more long-lasting change, and it'll help you embrace and honor your competence and your creativity, which is what makes it fun to work with people. It's way more fun when you have a bunch of mental models to draw up on and a lot of techniques that you can also utilize. And we'll talk about techniques more in a minute. So here's the coach. The coach, their area of expertise is a specialty in inquiry. Coaches are trained in the art of asking questions. These questions honor the client's capacity to find their own answers. And a coach is also trained into which question to ask and the right time to ask it. So coaches are about helping people take action in the area of their life that they want to change. And they do it by working within the realm of question asking. So it's a big skill and it's an important element, right? Now, here's just an example of a coaching success. Jacob was the client, and he wanted to get a promotion at work. He needed to learn something new in order to get it. There was no time to study. That's what was stopping him. And together, he and his coach created a strategy for studying. And in this case, they utilized affirmations. And then they put the strategy into action. And with the help of the coach, continuing to support Jacob in taking the steps of the strategy and actually acting on them, he got his outcome. So that was a very big success for Jacob. Yay, Jacob. Okay, now let's look at the role of the educator. The educator specializes in the art of drawing out what is present within the person in the latent and undeveloped state. Now, this can begin with the introduction of an idea or a concept foreign or absent in the client's way of thinking. So as an example for this, when a kid is little, they know that there are things in the world, but they don't really understand the concept of numbers, and they have to be taught that. But here's the thing. The ability to be able to understand numbers rests within the client. It is just undeveloped. So what a teacher does, an educator does, is they draw it out, not only by asking questions, but also engaging the client in exploring and doing something that is not mental so much, but actually relating on their outside experience. So once the educator has helped the client grasp the concept of numbers, and they taught them how to count from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, then they bring in the next higher level or application of that latent ability, which is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So here's an example of working with the educator as the role that you're playing. This is Margie's story. She wanted to manifest a husband. So it was clear that she had the ability to manifest food on the dinner table, right? She knew how to cook, she knew how to shop, she knew how to put it all together and put food on the table for dinner. So the educator extrapolated that latent ability, or that ability to use the same process to manifest a husband. So the latent ability was to use a process she already had in a different context. So this is like extrapolating a latent ability to apply to a different context, right? And that's part of what an educator does. So you may have to point it out to the client, bring it into their awareness as sort of a piece of education. So I think of the educator as educating the client to something that exists within them that they were not aware was there. And it is usually a latent ability. So in working with the educator, she saw that she knew how to manifest small things and that she could apply the same process to larger things. And the educator helped her, along with the coach, to identify what those things were, what were the steps, and then to apply it to the larger process of manifesting a husband. Cool, huh? Okay, then we have the facilitator role. So we've got coach, educator, and facilitator. Now the facilitator is uniquely different from the other two, as the other two are uniquely different from the facilitator. The facilitator specializes in conveying the client's conscious desire to the unconscious mind. And the facilitator is trained in the art of delivering the solution to the problem. So if you look at the little story going on here, the client is the conscious desire who's telling the facilitator what they want. The unconscious mind is putting out its objections or concerns or questions about what objections, resistances, to allowing the conscious desire to become a part of the client's behavioral repertoire. The facilitator, the blue guy in the middle, is trained in the art of delivering the solution to the problem and trained in the art of delivering to the unconscious mind what the conscious mind wants. Now, the reason why this is so important is because the mind that is in charge of behavioral change is the unconscious mind. So the facilitator is a very important role no more important, no less important than the other two, because I'm saying the three together are what allow you to stay within your sense of being authentic and ethical, and also get the client to their goal. Okay, so the conscious desire for change and the unconscious permission for that change is required. And that's the art and power of the facilitator role, because you're trained in exactly how to deliver the awareness of the problem from the conscious mind, the awareness of the new behavior that's wanted by the conscious mind to the unconscious mind, and then to also deliver to the conscious mind the objections and resistances that rest within them. And then the facilitator, through the art of questioning and education, can identify and then, here's the key, deliver the solution to the problem so that the desired behavior can arise. It's kind of functioning as a catalyst, all right, that allows the transformation the client wants to actually emerge in their behavior. So it changes from a concept to a behavior. Pretty cool. So here's an example of this. The facilitator role, Janie wanted to be both an academic and a mystic. And they were pretty opposite in terms of who she was going to be, her identity. When she was an academic, she was one way. When she was a mystic, she was another way. One had a lot of thought, the other had almost no thought. This was a conflict that was producing great anxiety and confusion for Janie's conscious mind, but she wanted to be able to be both. She wasn't willing to give up either one. So the facilitator was able to facilitate the resolution of this conflict by the unconscious mind, helping it to see the value of each of these identities for Janie, which she elicited from Janie using questioning, and then directed the unconscious mind to create a partnership between these two for Janie at the unconscious level, thus allowing her to be able to expand her sense of identity to embrace both being an academic and a mystic simultaneously, even though for her they had seemed in serious conflict. They now seemed supportive of each other, and actually a real partnership was created. She was very happy by this, by the way, and totally surprised that such a thing could occur. All right, so when all three of these skill sets, the coach, the educator, the facilitator, when all three skill sets are embraced, when they're held as equally valuable, and they are allowed to work together, that is when your coaching changes into very conscious and transformational coaching, because you are able to not only elicit the outcome and not only educate them to what they may not know they need, while simultaneously getting their notions of what they do need, and then allowing the whole thing to be orchestrated together in a new way that rests in the brain with new neural pathways that are capable of creating this new mental model, in Janie's case, for example, of how to be both an academic and a mystic at the same time. She couldn't do it consciously, but her unconscious mind was able to do it. And this was real transformational coaching. She got a real transformation by utilizing all three sets of skills, by embracing all three identities, not only a coach, not only an educator, not only a facilitator, but all three. So this allows you to have an expanded sense of your identity. Pretty cool. And conscious coaching produces transforming results, especially when you add in your uniqueness as a human being, your commitment to being of service to others, and your secret sauce. Now, whatever that is for you, whether you can articulate it or not, when you start gathering more mental models and you allow that neural lattice work to begin building inside of your brain, including the uniqueness of who you are, something comes out that is really yours. Right? And that is the secret to true authenticity. You're being yourself, but dancing within the framework of multiple models. Then amazing results can occur. not only for your client who's going to get to their outcome more quickly, more efficiently, more effectively, and with very long-lasting results, but also for you and your career. You're going to feel so good about yourself because you're going to be able to get more return clients, more fabulous referrals, and more money in your bank, and feel good because you're still within your range of being an ethical coach, you're being authentic, and you're allowing transformation to occur for your clients. Pretty amazing stuff. So, wrap up. The coach's solution. All three of these models, the coaching model, the educating model, and the facilitation model, all three models rely on the discovery and the delivery of hidden qualities and essential relationships. And this is why you remain ethical, because all three of these rely on discovering and delivering hidden qualities and essential relationships into the awareness of your client so that they can feel at ease moving into and claiming this new behavior that they have come to you for help with creating. And you have essentially made the promise that you will get them there. This approach allows the client's true wisdom and clarity to more easily arise because everything essentially is already predicated on pre-existence within the client. So they're not, you may be pointing to other things to prove the existence of something within the client, but everything that is being discovered is within the client. And really what you're doing is delivering those hidden qualities and essential relationship from where they exist within the client to a new place where they're needed to help the new behavior be created and then coded into the brain via a new neurological pathway, which is, of course, the area of expertise for NLP. I have to put a little bit of a quote in here for NLP since it's my profession and what I teach. The last thing that the coach's solution does is it invites greater access to your unique brand of creativity. So creativity is not something you think about or practice just in an art studio. Some of the most beautiful creative moments of your journey can show up in those intimate moments of connection and openness and honesty with you and your client, where your way of putting all that together, letting all those mental models come together to exactly meet the needs of your client exactly as they require them in order to be received into their unique model of the world. Okay, because remember, every client comes to you with an additional model of the world, theirs. And your job is going to have to be able to identify that model and work all of your magic within that model. So that is the coach's solution. Okay, so what is next for you? Well, today or tomorrow, you'll receive another email from me with a link to the replay of this little webinar. You'll also get the link to a free download recapping what we talked about here in the webinar today. I think it's a 5-page handout or something. And included in that is a self-assessment quiz. Now, what that quiz is designed to do is help you identify any objections or resistances that you have to expanding your sense of professional identity. Okay, so that will help you understand what kinds of roadblocks you might run into as you start out to explore embracing these 3 compatible roles of coach, educator, facilitator. Okay, so that's what you're going to get next. So what is the final and last step of today is go to inspirednlp.com, inspirednlp.com, and explore my NLP coach facilitator certification training. Okay, explore what that is, what you're going to get in it. It is a program that covers all 3 of these roles. Right? Then you want to also download the ebook, which I believe is on that page right up at the top, called Attitude and or Attention and Attitude Equal Conscious Coaching. This is a little book I put together of multiple ideas that help you understand the key to really becoming a more conscious coach who's able to deliver conscious coaching to your clients. And it really is all based in attitude and attention. So you can download that on the inspirednlp.com page. And so then finally, this will allow you to learn my training. I have to do a pitch for my training, right? Learn the art of skillful inquiry plus the science of accelerated behavioral change. And this program includes the key to educating respectfully and mindfully through presence and what I call love in action, which is one of my goals. I stand for helping my coaches who go through my training come out with the ability to truly be present to their clients, to truly be able to demonstrate what I call love in action, which is letting their clients feel an acceptance of who they are, where they are, without anything being wrong with them at all. And this is very different from the traditional Western approach of assuming there's a problem. In NLP, we don't assume there is a problem. We assume that there is something that the client wants to expand their life into experiencing, and we help them find what they need to do in order to get that to happen. And then we help deliver it to them, all done in the privacy of their mind, because it's their map that you are trained to navigate within. It's a great mental model. So if you'd like, go to inspirednlp.com. This is in addition to the email you're going to receive, which will give you the link to the replay and the download that's a recap of that, plus the self-assessment test. Okay, so let me see if I can get out of here now and come back up to here. Let's see if I can do it. We'll see if I can do it. I want to get out of here. I don't seem, there we go. I'm out of that. Now I want to stop the share. There we are. Hi. So welcome here again. Thank you so much for being here today. It's been great to just chat on with you about something that I feel is pretty important for coaches to be able to understand that they can do and stay within their code of ethics. If you have any questions about that, you can feel free to email me at Ragini here, Ragini at tohelpyouhelpothers.com or rm@raginimichaels.com, either way. So I don't see any questions in the chat box at this time, so maybe I covered everything really well. Anyway, I appreciate your presence here today. Thank you for coming. And I have some more little short webinars coming up over the next few weeks, so stay tuned for those. You'll get an email with the link and the time for how to sign up for those. Okay, my friends, thank you so much for coming today. I hope this was valuable to you. Please feel free to let me know your thoughts in an email. Okay, take care. Much love. Let's see if I can stop the recording.